So I feel like today is a good day to actually give my talk because there's a lot of people in this room who are either head of a startup or involved with startups. And they're like, David, you are, and Alex, I think I overheard you say that you're in a startup right now. And certainly it's work for one. But is anybody in the room still in the stage where they believe they have a great startup idea, but they just don't know how to even take that first step and get it going? Is anybody, Zena? Anybody else? Maybe? Well, I used to be like that as well. And actually the last talk that I gave to this room was about startup resources in Chicago. If you want to take a startup idea and make it happen, where to go in Chicago for that. And when I did that speech, I got some very good and poignant feedback that really stayed with me. And the feedback I got was, okay, so you listed some really great resources, but it would be even more effective if you told us a startup success story that occurred because of access to those resources. So I was thinking about it, I was like, well, why can't that be me? And that was a couple weeks ago. And since then, I went back a couple weeks ago, I had no startup idea, no clue really what I was doing besides being an admirer of startups. And then on Sunday, I actually was a co-founder of a startup that got into a creative incubator and has the attention of investors. So how did I get from that point a few weeks ago to the point where I am now? And that's what I'm here to talk about. So the first part of my journey begins with failure, because I wouldn't have succeeded unless I had failed big time. And my failure story is from last year when I entered a startup competition called ProtoHack. And that's a one-day event where you enter a startup idea, you get a team together to develop that idea, and then at the end of the day you pitch it to investors and they vote on it, and then the winning idea gets some traction from future investors and whatnot. So I was all excited to enter this event and form a team. And when I got there, I was successful in forming a good team. I formed a team with two people. For the sake of illustration, I'll just name them Tim and John. And Tim was a guy from a marketing agency who brought with him a really good idea about a healthcare startup where essentially we have a startup that helps plan menus for people who are discharged from hospitals so they can follow the instructions on discharge about their diet and then not relapse and go back into hospitals. And he got the idea because his sister was a nurse. He came in with that idea, and then we had the second guy, John, who was a newly minted UX designer who was anxious to help us. So I thought everything was going to go great. We were going to win this competition and kick everything off. Two smart guys, me, I'm a marketer, we can do this. Well, several things ended up going wrong. The first one was that our team was not agile enough, which I think is key for any startup. Our team's founder, Tim, he had a great idea, but he didn't have access to hospitals or even his sister, who was the nurse who gave him the startup idea, on that weekend. So we weren't able to do all the market research we needed to really gain traction and develop a product that responded to the market needs. That was issue number one. But that wouldn't necessarily stopped us from winning the competition altogether until we ran into issue number two, which was even bigger. We didn't practice enough time for our pitch at the end of the day. So in any startup competition, and in any startup, sometimes with a meeting with investors, it all comes down to your pitch. You can do a ton of work before, you can do the best market research, you can have a ton of traction behind you, but if you can't make that pitch in a few minutes that you have with your judges or investors, the whole thing will go flat. So our team pretty much only had 20 minutes to practice before our pitch. Our founder, Tim, gave the pitch. He had 1 minute to do it. He got about 30 seconds of material in before the judges said, eh. And I don't want to rag on him because I can't fault him. If I was in his position, I would have done the same thing and I would have performed the same way. I just know it. And so the two things I learned from that experience and that failure of not winning that competition, because we didn't even place in the top three, was one, get a good agile team, which I'll talk more about in the second part of my speech I'll deliver next week in terms of how to do that. And secondly, have your pitch ready. So that big failure was really what caused me to start going to Toastmasters. I knew that there could either, if there's a startup pitch or maybe another time in my life where I would have a random moment to make my case and that would be it. And I didn't feel ready last year to do that at all. So that's why I'm here at Toastmasters. And so in the next part of my speech, I will share a little bit more about how I've been using Toastmasters and other resources to have become successful in another even bigger startup competition that I took place last week. So that's my message about how to start kicking off your own startup and how I got there myself, and thank you for listening.